The Turemetal UP3 was introduced during 2018. It is a small form factor fanless Mini-ITX heatsink case and is marketed for 65-watt processors. 65 watts is no longer really a standard for desktop CPUs, however, so I tested the case at various power levels to estimate where its cooling limit really is. There is also a Pro version of the UP3 case that includes a different backplate and additional hardware for cooling a graphics card, up to 120 watts. But I will not be testing that version here. At just 9.5 by 8.1 by 4.4 inches big, or 5.5 liters, it is the smallest fanless case that can cool both a CPU and GPU. Due to its size though, compatibility with various motherboards and graphics cards will be limited, so extra attention to the case requirements is recommended before purchase. Without a graphics card, it is compatible with a wide range of Mini-ITX motherboards due to a unique double-decker CPU cooling block design that can rise above many motherboard VRM or M.2 heatsinks. The case is compatible with small DC to DC power supplies with an external AC to DC power brick. Similar cases include the Strix FC8, Akasa Maxwell Pro, HDPlex H1, and Turemetal's own DP2. A couple of things set Turemetal apart from the others though. Their cases include 8mm heat pipes instead of 6mm heat pipes, which increases the maximum heat transfer from the CPU or GPU to the case's heatsink walls. Also, most of Turemetal's cases include a third heatsink in the front of the case that shares heat pipes from the heatsinks on each side of the case. This adds heatsink volume and surface area, increasing the case's total heat dissipation capacity. The UP3 can be purchased directly from Turemetal at turemetal.com. My test system included the Intel Core i9-12900K CPU, Asus ROG Strix B660i motherboard, 32GB of Kingston Fury Renegade 6400 megatransfers per second RAM, a 1TB Kingston Fury Renegade NVMe SSD, a Thermalright LGA 1700 bending correction frame, a mini box 160-watt PicoPSU, and a generic 120-watt external 12-volt AC to DC converter. The i9K series CPU will easily exceed 65 watts, so it is not generally recommended for this case, but for the purposes of testing where the case's cooling and performance limit is, the i9 can be useful. I modified the CPU power limits in BIOS to test the case at different power levels. Next, I'll share a build montage, after which I will come back to discuss test results and compare the case to other fanless Mini-ITX options. With the help of Prime95 and Hardware Info, I tested the case at 4 different power limits: 35 watts, 50 watts, 65 watts, and 80 watts. Since I was using a 120 watt power brick, I did not go up to 100 watts so that I wouldn't overload the AC to DC unit. I ran a half-hour torture test at each power limit and noted the maximum core temperatures at the end of each test. I also noted the ambient room temperature and normalized the results to 25 degrees Celsius by subtracting the ambient temperature and adding 25. The ambient room temperature was maintained at between 22 and 23 degrees. Here are the results, with a trend line added for estimating maximum CPU temperatures at any power level. If you are okay with possibly hitting the CPU's thermal limit of 100 degrees, it looks like the UP3 can handle up to about 100 watts. For a bit of a buffer though, and a maximum temperature of safely below 100 degrees, an 80 or 90 watt power limit is recommended. To test the performance of this system, I ran Passmark's Performance Test. Overall, the system received 2.5 stars out of 5. Even with an 80 watt power limit in place, the CPU received 4.5 stars, 2D graphics received 2 stars, 3D graphics received 1.5 stars, memory received 5 stars, and the drive also received 5 stars. If graphics performance is not important to you, this system has excellent CPU, RAM, and SSD performance, and would make a fantastic small, fanless, non-graphics workstation. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned several similar cases. Let's compare their thermal performance to the UP3. I record thermal test data of every system that I build, so over the years I've collected quite a bit of data for these cases. With this data, I can estimate the theoretical maximum power limit for each case that we'd expect to see thermal throttling at in a 25-degree room. Once again, here is the Turemetal UP3. The 100-degree power limit is 102 watts. For the HDPlex H1, it is 93 watts. For the Strix FC8, it is 74 watts. For the Asus Maxwell Pro, it is 87 watts. And for Turemetal's DP2, it is 81 watts. Here is a comparison table for the 5 cases. The UP3 is the best performer, but along with the Turemetal DP2, due to shipping costs, it is also the most expensive, at least in the United States. At the time of this video, both the HDPlex H1 and Turemetal UP3 are out of stock. When comparing the sizes, the Turemetal UP3 is in the middle of the pack. It is tied for the tallest case, but it is not as wide or deep as the others. To get photos and test results of every one of my PC builds, check out my Patreon page. Like this video and subscribe for more fanless PC content. And visit fullysilentpcs.com if you are interested in purchasing your own custom-built fanless PC.